The goal of the company is to improve the standard, the quality of English language teaching in Africa. I'm starting in Morocco. My parents are from Morocco, so logically this is where I wanted to start. But the goal is to focus on Africa as a continent, which we are part of, to recognize the importance of English as a language for us to promote solidarity and a community within the African continent. I was going to begin with an anecdote, a personal anecdote. The first country outside of the United States that I taught in was Egypt. I'm not going to tell you the story because we don't have much time, but if you're interested, you can talk to me and I'll tell you. It's a very, very funny story, but we don't have time now. The point though is that context is important. When I first started teaching in Egypt, I didn't understand the importance of context. Context being where you are, who you're teaching, is the most important aspect of our job. There's nothing more important than knowing who we have in front of us when you're teaching them. I'm a teacher trainer, and when you're training people, it's exactly the same. Context is absolutely important. The context that we're in now is Africa. What I'm going to present about right now is not about an experience in Africa. It's about an experience in Kazakhstan. The point, though, about context is that these two countries, Kazakhstan and Africa and Morocco, have quite similar contexts from a number of different perspectives. Most importantly, Kazakhstan is huge. It's a big, big place. Africa is a very big place. And the teacher training paradigm that I used with my company in Kazakhstan last year can also be used in Africa, I believe, because of the similarities in context. So the project that I ran last year was the CLIL training project. It ran for 5 months. It involved training 160 teachers for the NIS network, Nazarbayev Intellectual Schools Network of schools in Kazakhstan. We trained STEM teachers, so biology, physics, chemistry, and ICT teachers in CLIL, Concept Language Integrated Learning. For those of you who are not familiar with the acronym, what that means is that in these schools, language of instruction is English. But when you study biology in your own language, and you've been teaching biology in your language for 10 or 15 years, how do you make the switch to teaching in English? That's one question. The answer to that question is very simple. You learn the language. What's more important, though, is how do you teach your students English and the content at the same time? And that's a lot more complicated. And that's what we were involved in doing in Kazakhstan. So we trained these teachers not to teach their topics, but to train other teachers. And the paradigm was we worked with teachers from 20 different schools across the country. We trained them to become trainers, and then they go back to their schools and they train their colleagues in CLIL. So 16 different schools, 10 teachers per school. The teachers all had IELTS band 4 or above, kind of. That's what they said. Very often we were dealing with teachers who had a lower level of English than that, which was one of the challenges of the project. So remember, the reason why I'm describing this project to you is because I think that it's a model that can work in Africa and in Morocco. So while you're listening, keep in mind that this is an objective and think about whether it is indeed possible to transfer this kind of project from where it took place in Kazakhstan to Morocco and Africa. So it was a 3-module project. The first module was face-to-face. And its goal was to establish theoretical and practical foundations in CLIL for our trainees. The second module was online. So the whole course was blended, second module online. And the second module unlike most online modules or online training, was not content-oriented. It was teaching practice-oriented. What that means is that we weren't teaching them things online, we were observing their classroom practice and helping them to become better teachers through feedback. The third module was once again face-to-face, and the purpose of this module was to train our trainees to become trainers. So the practical and theoretical foundations of teacher training. So module theory and practice. Within module 1, we had micro-teaching. That helped prepare them for module 2, where they would be doing teaching practice online, or rather they would be recording their teaching practice. And that helped to prepare them for module 3, where they would be learning to train other teachers. And as a whole, this would improve performance across the NIS program. Module 2, 4 teaching practices. Each teaching practice had a different focus area. So, a little bit easier for me like this, I think. TP1, the focus was assessment. TP2, the focus was cognition. TP3, the focus was language. Now, these are focus areas that are specifically geared towards CLIL, but if we do teaching practice, it doesn't have to be CLIL, obviously. It can be different aspects of classroom performance, such as breaking down vocabulary or managing the classroom. TP4 was holistic. We assessed them based on all of these things, as well as their lesson plan and the general performance in the classroom. Their development aims were the following: teaching skills, planning skills, assessment skills. And you'll notice that one of these is in red. Self-reflection and awareness as a teacher through regular forum participation. That is the key competency that you must have in order to be a successful teacher trainer. It's the ability to reflect upon your own performance and thereby reflect upon the performance of the teachers that you were observing in the classroom. And just to add, it is my personal belief that the ability to reflect upon your own teaching is the key skill of any teacher when it comes to improvement and continuous professional development. How did it work? We have groups of 8 teachers in each TP group. 2 teachers in each of the schools that we dealt with were in one of the TP groups in order to provide mutual support to each other. The teachers had 2 weeks to film their lessons and upload and comment on each of their TPs. Each TP was 40 minutes long, and trainers participated in the forum discussions and gave feedback for each TP. So I said trainers participated. That means that they did not give feedback immediately. This is very important. The feedback was collaborative first. In other words, the teachers, the trainees themselves, answer a question from the trainer about the lesson. So the trainer asked a question such as, how was content delivered in this lesson? Or was there enough language support? Or how would you provide more language support in this lesson? Each of the trainees must answer this question by watching the video of the lesson. And then they react to each other's comments by asking each other questions, by supporting, by negating, by discussing, basically. So the TPs were filmed. What's important in terms of infrastructure is that infrastructure for this kind of project can be very light. Many of the teachers in these schools used cell phones to record themselves and to upload their lessons. So this means that this is one more aspect of the project. It means that it's transferable to Africa. How much time do I have left?
More than 10 minutes.
Yes! Okay. So, as I was saying, for the teachers' own lessons, they filmed for 40 minutes. They upload the lesson to the VEO platform. So we worked with a partner company called VEO. VEO set up a platform where it's possible to upload a video and to tag the video. So tagging the video means that you select a moment in the lesson, and you write a comment on that moment. It's the teacher's job to write the initial comment and to choose the moment. This is very important because, again, the first step is self-reflection. The teacher watches his or her own lesson and chooses 3 moments that he or she wants to discuss in the forum and that he or she wants feedback on. So, as I said, they tagged 3 moments in the lesson. That matched the focus area. Remember, there were 3 focus areas, one for each TP. They read their trainer's comments and questions, and they answer their trainer's comments and questions. So that's if you're talking about your own lesson. Teachers also participated, obviously, in discussions about their colleagues' lessons. They have to watch the 3 tagged moments. They don't have to watch the whole lesson. And this is really important because we know that as teachers, we do not have a lot of time. So we only watch the moments that were chosen by that teacher, that were tagged by that teacher. So we watch them and we comment upon them. And then they respond to the trainer's comments and questions about those tagged moments. So teacher development, the aim of this kind of project is for teacher development to take place through collaborative feedback. We are building on each other's knowledge. In the same way that in a language classroom, we build upon the knowledge of our students to help them move forward. The knowledge isn't always coming from us. They have competency, skills, and knowledge that we can very easily be unaware of. And if we don't take advantage of those skills, of that knowledge, we're missing an opportunity to promote learning in the classroom. And it's the same in a teacher training context. We build upon the knowledge of our trainees, of our teachers. So we're looking at Cole's development cycle, which I'm sure most of you are very familiar with. It goes from concrete experience, there's reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, active experimentation. This is a knowledge framework that works for language learning, any type of learning, and for teacher training. The initial TP, so actually teaching your lesson or recording it in the classroom, that is the first stage, concrete experience. Forum participation, where you were commenting on your lesson and you were exchanging and building upon the knowledge as contributed by other teachers and your trainer, that is reflective observation and abstract conceptualization. So this is the learning stage. The first stage is where you do, second stage is where you learn, or you think you learn, because what's most important is the last stage. And the last stage is concrete experience, where you go back into the classroom and you do it again, this time incorporating the lessons from the second stage. And in this project, the final stage, active experimentation, is the following TP. So you're building upon what you learned in the previous TP in your following TP. This is the platform that we used. I'm not going to go into details about the platform, mainly because there are lots of different platforms that we can use to do this project, and it's not what's most important. Trainees tag moments in the lesson. This is what it looked like. So this is one of the tags from one of the teachers. On the right-hand side are the tag titles, communication, cognition, and assessment. And this is what one of the teachers had to say about his own lesson. He said, when students concluded their posters, I collect all the posters, minimize student distractions, etc. He or she is describing what happened in the classroom. And this is important because this is one of the weaknesses of the teachers that we dealt with. In the forum contributions that they made, they were more interested in describing what they were doing than describing why they were doing it. And as we all know, it's not what we do, it's why we do which is important. And this is an example of the forum discussion. Jane Richbell is one of the people who I managed on this project. She's a teacher trainer, and she's responding to a post from one of her teachers. In the interest of saving time, I'm not going to go over the assessment model that we used. We're going to go straight to the results. Out of 160 teachers, 40 became master trainers. What that means is that they were able to go forth and start training other teachers in their schools in CLIL. Another 20 teachers didn't have the language ability to do that. So they were recommended to take language courses so that in the near future they could train other teachers in CLIL. They had the CLIL foundations. They were good trainers, we thought. They only lacked the language in order to do their job correctly. Obstacles. Similar obstacles, I think, will be found in many different places, including Africa. A lot of the teachers have very little to no experience with forum participation. This is not something we can take for granted. Your ability to participate in a forum is something that you need to learn how to do. If you've never done it before, don't think that you're going to be good at it. It's like anything, it requires learning, it requires training. Low levels of English competency, and obviously the full teaching timetable. NIS is a great network of schools, but boy do they work their teachers to the bone. I've never seen any teachers work so hard. And in spite of all that, they did a really good job. Like I mentioned, a large percentage of them went on to become teacher trainers. And finally, the weaknesses. And I'd like to spend, what, should I stop?
No, carry on. Please.
Carry on, okay. 1 minute?
Please carry on.
Okay. So, this
2 minutes. 2.
Yes, okay. This is perhaps the most important aspect of what I want to talk to you about. I'm sorry that it says weaknesses, but they are weaknesses. They're critical self-reflection and forum participation. The biggest weakness that we can encounter with our teachers there, and possibly the same thing will happen in Morocco and Africa, is the inability to reflect upon their own teaching. To think about what they're doing in the classroom critically. This goes back to what I was saying about them describing what they were doing in the classroom rather than reflecting upon it. Reflecting upon it means, hey, did I do a good job? Hey, were my teachers learning, were my students learning here? And most importantly, could I have done this better? So that instinct to go to approach your own lessons as an opportunity to change what you do next time is something that they did not have initially. And so, sorry, that's one thing. The other thing is forum participation, which I already spoke about. And so the next time we carry this project out, in the first module, if we do it in a blended format again, the first module, what's most important is for us to teach them how to give constructive feedback to each other, what it means to give constructive feedback, what it means to self-reflect, why it's important, how to do it. They need training. Teachers need training in self-reflection. We cannot take this for granted at all. And teach them how to participate actively in online discussion forums. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You've been very patient with me. If you have any questions, I'll be around to ask.